Assalamu alaikum guys, this is me Senpai Gamer San. I'm your host Senpai. We have just installed AI novel creator. Discover hot story? Fuck no. Create your own story with few words. Okay. Make a cover for your story with AI. Okay, whatever. Full access to all features. No, thank you. Yearly access. No, no, I don't need it. Oh fuck, man. Novel AI, bedtime story. What? No. The mind's eye. What is the mind's eye? Dr. Sarah Campbell is renowned and respected psychological known for her work. Yield the hypnosis. Her patients come from all walks of life, seeking her help to overcome the range of mental health issues. One day a new patient walked in her office. He is charming, charismatic, he's in control of every aspect of his life. His name is John, and he is seeking to help overcome his insomnia. Oh my god, that's really dangerous. I used to have insomnia when I used to do a lot of exercises. There was something in my brain just telling me someone will kill me, someone will kill me, I have to get healthy body, I have to body. Now it doesn't matter when I don't matter to the others. Anyway, as Sarah began to delve deeper into John's psychic, she realized that there are more of him than meets the eye. His mind is a labyrinth of secret lies and hidden desire, and she quickly drawn into dangerous game of cat and mouse. But then Sarah made a shocking discovery. John isn't who he claimed to be. In fact, he is convicted serial killer. I figure who escaped from the prison. Okay, matter they had. Go back. Okay. What happened in Snow White is actually protagonist. Broken Bound. Nice to meet you. Where you have been, I can show you incredible things. No, not this one. And together. That's a very short story, man. Romance, adventure, the clan, the jungle clan. These are all the horror, the haunted house. 3D character, anime for patriot, character, choose your book card. Okay, who and what is the main character? A big boy, a beautiful princess. Okay, who is the Mortimer? A guy who is talented in video games and adventure, but stuck in time loop of his house. There we go. Does the main character have a name? Yes, its name is San Senpai. Brief description. Oh fuck, I have to. I have to select all and cut. 28-year-old man. I can do that. Let's see. Brief the description of the story. A guy who's talented and love in the video games and adventures. but stuck in the time loop of his house. Example, the monster learned to make a friend. Generate. Yeah, just generate. Upgrade to premium. Ah, man. Continue with ads. Sure. A guy who's talented and love in video games and adventure but stuck in the time loop of his house. Looks like a Chinese version. Once there was a 28-year-old man named San Senpai. He enjoyed playing video games and adventure games, but his life was stuck in a time loop. He lived in a small house all day, every day, and nothing seemed to change. San Senpai's life was simple and mundane, but he enjoyed it not less. He spent his days playing video games and watching animation, but everything was the same day after day. He never had any challenges or challenge of face, and that was the problem. San Senpai had a clear talent for video games, but he felt useless. He had no purpose in his life, no challenges to overcome, and nothing to master. He had watched his friends in college progress in their career to attain success, but he was stuck in the same small house day after day. One day, San Senpai decided to break free from this daily routine. He had heard about the video games competition that was happening in the town, and he wanted to enter. He saved up his money and prepared himself for the competition. When he arrived at competition, he was surprised to discover that he was not only the one person there with the talent for the game. There were gamers, programmers, developers from all over the world, all with their own stories to success. The competition started to San Senpai was the first player to enter the arena. He had not played the game in years, but he was still determined to win. He managed to beat all the other players in the competition, even though he had not played the game in years. After winning the competition, San Senpai was elected. He felt like he had finally achieved something important he had on purpose in life, which was become the best gamer in the world. However, as soon as he left the arena, he realized something strange. He was still stuck in the same time loop. He had entered a new time and space, but he was still stuck in the same house. Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months. San Senpai had lost the track of time. The only thing that changed was his routine. He still spent his days playing video games and watching animation. One day when he had gone to bed, he woke up and found that he had gone back in time. He was no longer in a small house, but in the different room. He was surprised to find that he was in different time period. San Senpai was now living in future world full of technology gadgets and advanced machines. He discovered that he had been sent into future by the group of scientists who needed his talent for video games to save the world. What the San Senpai was thrilled to be in future, but he was also scared. He realized that he had a new purpose in life. He was no longer just a talent wasted in a time loop. He had a mission to save the world. Ah, cool. San Senpai spent the next few years playing video games and researching ways to save the world. He found the villainous entity in a charge of destruction of the world was massive computer program that had gone rough. San Senpai knew that he had stopped the computer program before it could cause any more damage. He had spent much time in a small house that had forgotten how to use technology in his everyday life. He spent months learning about the computer programming and to be friendly. It was a long and arduous task. But San Senpai was determined to save the world. In the end, San Senpai succeeded stopping the computer program from causing any more damage. The world was safe again and San Senpai had saved the day. San Senpai returned to his small house where he was welcomed with open arms by his friends, colleagues and family. They were amazed to see him come back from the future and they celebrated his success. San Senpai realized that he had finally found the purpose in his life. It was because of his talent for video games. He had learned that the talent alone was not enough, but that he needed to use to save the world. San Senpai lived long and happy life. He never forget the day of that he had saved the world. By using his talent for video games, he had found his purpose life. He was content with it. A little bit cute and a little bit weird, but whatever. Let's create a game. What is the main character? Male, 28-year old, jobless male. Does the main character have name? Yeah. San Senpai. Write the description of this story. A man who had no job but soon got a job for V VR gameplay. A game where 10 people stuck inside. Where 10 people souls, I think souls. Or how about the minds? Minds, oh, minds stuck inside. Inside. But he try his best to solve mystery without knowing dark secrets. Story name Oblivion. Stuck in Oblivion. Stuck in Oblivion. 3D character, animation portrait, comics portrait, cyberpunk portrait, cyberpunk world, fantasy portrait, pixel art, pop art, fantasy. How about animation portrait? There we go. Generate. And now we're gonna watch the ads to see. A man who had no job but soon got a job of VR gameplay, a game where 10 people's minds stuck inside, but he tries his best to solve mystery without knowing the dark secrets. Story name Stuck in Oblivion. Male 28-year-old, jobless male, San Senpai. Live in a small apartment in a quiet residential neighborhood. He spent most of his day wandering around the street aimlessly, hoping to find a job where he could put his meager education and experience to use. Despite his lack of employment, San Senpai remained optimistic about his future. He had spent years studying game development and he knew that his love for the video game would bring sustenance to his otherwise barren existence. One day he received an email from the company that was looking for a virtual reality developer for a new video game. San Senpai was intrigued by the prospect for working on such a high-tech project and quickly applied for the position. After submitting his application, San Senpai went online to learn more about the company and the game they were developing. As he read through the human avatars that the game would use, he wouldn't help but to feel nagging sense of unease. Well, this is the story I'm talking about. This is, I remember, used to write this story, had 10 consequences, where a person saved 10 people, and the last person was the daughter of the VR scientist. If that AI generate that, I swear, AI can read the minds. I will think that. The more he learned about the game, the more it seemed like something from a dystopian movie. The company was creating a virtual world where the 10 people would be trapped and unable to escape, forced to solve a mystery that threatened their very existence. Sansepa knew that the job would be dangerous, but he was willing to take the risk if it meant living his dream of working on the video game. Days turned into weeks turned into months, but San Senpai was unable to progress much further in the game. The developers were working on the project alone, and they had no idea what problem might be or how to solve them. San Senpai felt like he was being left in the dark, and he began to feel hopeless and alone. He missed his old life, one that had nothing to do with the video game, but he didn't know how to escape from the strange world he'd been sucked into. The one day he received an email with a strange message. You have been studying the game for too long. It may have a dark side, but don't lose hope. Senpai-san didn't know what that meant, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. He went online, researched the game history, stumbled upon something he didn't expect. The game's creator had been working it for years, but they had a dark secret that they weren't willing to share with anyone. They were experimenting with a new technology that could transport people into virtual reality world, and they wanted to see what would happen if they use it on the group of people. San Senpai felt the chill run down his spine as he read the news. He knew that he's been reading something that would make him disappear forever and felt scared. But it was too late to turn back. He had been stuck in the game for too long. He was now trapped inside. Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months. San Senpai tried everything he could think of escape, but there was only one thing that he could do. He started talking to his fellow avatars, hoping that someone would hear him and help him. Then one day he heard a voice in his head that he had never heard before. It was the voice of a man who claimed to be a games creator. The man explained that they had done everything they could to make sure that no one would ever find out about their dark secret. But leak had occurred, and someone had leaked the information to the public. Sam Senpai didn't know what to do, but he knew that he had to be very careful. The game's creator could go out and hire someone to find out what he knew, and he didn't want to be caught. As the day turned into weeks, San Senpai began to feel a sense of hope stir within. He no longer felt alone in the world of oblivion, and he wasn't willing to give up. Finally, one day he heard a faint voice in his head. It was the game creator talking to him through the headset that he had been wearing. The man explained San Senpai that they had released an update to the game that would allow avatars to leave the virtual world. If he wanted to get out, he would have to solve the mystery of where they came from and why they were trapped. San Senpai felt rush emotion as he heard those words. He knew it was impossible, but he was also felt glimmer of the hope in his heart that he might finally be able to escape. He started working on solving mystery. As he did, he learned more and more about the dark secret that he'd been hiding away from the world. And when he finally solved the mystery, he knew that he had done something that he would be proud of. As he walked away from the virtual world, he felt a sense of fulfillment in his heart. He knew that he'd been lucky to be stuck in oblivion, and he was grateful for experience. But he also knew that he had a newfound respect for both game and life. He knew that there would be others who would take advantage of the technology, but he also knew that he was not one of them. San Senpai had been stuck in oblivion, but he had also been able to escape. He had learned a valuable lesson during the experience, and he was now prepared to start a new life in the real world. And as he walked out, he knew that he would never forget the lesson he had learned, even if he wanted. Content. Ah, that was a good one. If I choose a long story, it would be the same. Anime world. A big dog. Isekai as a master of swordsman. Even I am Phineas. Oh shit, porn. What the? Phineas. Phineas? What the? Pianist. Pianist. What's the main character name? Hanzo Hasashi. Read the description. Cut. Mail. There we go. So I couldn't get the watching ads option. Fuck. Oh, come on, man. Well, I guess that's it. That's all. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This is what I download, guys. AI story generator novel maker. So you guys, if you love it, let me know in the comments down below. I'm gonna catch you guys inshallah next time when we meet again. Bye bye, take care, love you all. Allah Hafiz. Sayonara. Pakistan Zindabad.